At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're fully covered after an accident, the security of your home and everything in it that means so much to you. And knowing that even when the weather does its worst, you and your family are covered. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Nevis is in election mode, and Barbados-based political analyst and pollster Peter Wickham believes the outcome of that election will be a referendum of sorts on the performance of the Team Unity administration. The incumbent Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, is part of the federal coalition government, comprising the People's Action Movement and the People's Labour Party in St. Kitts. The Nevis government has repeatedly lauded its association with the federal government as more beneficial to Nevis, as the island is now getting its fair share of federal financial resources. But the opposition Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, has argued that the island is too dependent on the federal government and should instead become more self-sufficient. Mr. Wickham believes the December 18 polls will determine whether Nevisians favor this coalition arrangement.
The Nevis elections have historically always been close, and my sense is that that will continue to be the case. But one would assume that the CCM, being in government, is perhaps in a better position if they can continue to demonstrate the level of swing that we have seen at the federal level and certainly in their election before. Then you would expect a greater movement towards the CCM. If, however, they are unable to do so, then it will mean that perhaps all that Dr. Douglas and the Labour Party and the NRP are saying at the federal level and also at the local level is correct, and that is a rejection of the Timothy Harris administration. So I believe that Timothy Harris and the Team Unity has an investment in this election in Nevis, and certainly if it goes anywhere other than toward the CCM, I believe it will be a slap in the face to the entire project that they're pursuing. The other aspect of this project, which is of interest to me, is the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis. It is no closer than it has ever been, and I sense that this will also be a test of the extent to which Nevisians are comfortable with the closeness of St. Kitts and Nevis and the fact that you have a coalition which is actively involved on all levels now, and certainly more so than it was the case before with Premier Parry.
Commenting on the leadership change in the CCM, Mr. Wickham lauded retiring Premier Vance Amory for ceding his leadership of the party to Mark Brantley.
I don't think that there's a person in Nevis that's better suited to take over the leadership of the CCM. Based on all of my public opinion polling, he has been the person who has come up as the most logical and most preferred option. And I think it's a good thing for the CCM to do succession planning. And what I can hope is that as Vance Amory moves out of the political realm, for the future, that he's able to lend the kind of support to Mr. Mark Brantley going forward that one would expect of a past leader, and that succession can really well and truly be passed, and the torch can be passed as they continue. I think in the case of Nevis, it's the hammer, not the torch, but whatever it is, it can be passed on with some success, and it shows a pattern that other political parties in the region can follow.
Mr. Wickham, however, was a little less complimentary to the NRP and suggested that its leader, Joseph Parry, may need to cede leadership and look for a successor.
I have to admit that I've not been terribly excited by the NRP post last election, and there's not a lot about them that suggests that things are being done differently. Elections in Nevis have been a scramble to get the overseas vote and get as much of it as possible. My feeling is that when the NRP was able to win, they won because they were able to do that more successfully. I think that they used the relationship with the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party largely to get the necessary resources to be able to do just that. Developmentally, I don't know that they can claim a lot of ground, and I don't know that they will be able to do that more successfully now while they're in opposition. So I have to admit that I'm not excited. I believe that Mr. Parry has done well. He's become Premier. He was in the vineyard for a long time, and he too may want, with Dr. Douglas, to consider whether a future outside of politics in a supporting role might not give the young, vibrant NRP leadership the opportunity to come to the fore.
The CCM is seeking a second consecutive term under the new leadership of Mark Brantley, while the NRP is seeking to regain power after 4 years out of government. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.